At setter, junior number 10, Zach Wyatt. At middle hitter, sophomore number 12, Jaden Flanagan. At outside hitter, junior number 21, Nicholas Marion. At outside hitter, senior number 23, Dawson Forney. At outside hitter, sophomore number 24, Jordan Yoder. And out in the barrel for the Chargers, junior number 18, Tyler Martin. The Chargers are coached by Jay Grubiker and assisted by Justin Grubiker, Brian Kemmerer, and Drew Dillon.
All right, and welcome everyone to the beginning of this SVU Athletics Day. We have 4 matchups today for you coming from SVU Broadcasting, starting with this one right here. Your SVU Knights taking on the Lancaster Bible College Chargers. And man, this is going to be an exciting matchup. Both these teams number 1 in their conference. SVU number 1 in the Continental Volleyball Conference, and Lancaster number 1 in the United East Volleyball Conference. We welcome you to this broadcast. I'm Mark Duffin with my friend Chris Fly, and man, we are excited to bring you this matchup today. So, a very exciting matchup versus 2 top teams in their conference. SVU, of course, right now, number 1 Division III men's volleyball team in the nation, and looking to keep that up. They won the Continental Volleyball Conference Championship last year, and since then, in the start of this season, have gone 5-0 without losing a set, a perfect 15-0 in sets. So, an exciting time to be a Knights fan as we look for the Knights to try and go back-to-back this season in the Continental Volleyball Conference, as well as to keep up that number 1 ranking in the nation. And of course, a difficult opponent here in Lancaster Bible College. They've done very well for themselves in the United East Volleyball Conference, really playing themselves into first place quite easily. They're 6-2 on the season so far. The Knights are 5-0, and Lancaster College at 6-2 is coming quite dominantly. They've lost some close games, but otherwise have done very well to put games away and be a formidable opponent. So we'll get started here soon with the first serve in this exciting matchup between these 2 very good men's volleyball teams. All right, looks like we're getting set here. Like again to introduce my friend Chris Fly here, joining me in the broadcast booth, or table as we say. Looks like I think it'll be Lancaster that'll be starting the serve here.
This like it will be Chargers. Exciting matchup this game between 2 teams. We have the best seat in the house right here next to courtside, next to head coach Tom Peterson. Should be a good one today.
No, absolutely. And these 2 teams, very statistically dominant in both their conferences, doing very well. So it'll be an interesting matchup and a good test for the Knights. They've been perfect so far in the season, 15-0 in sets, 5-0 in the season. But it looks like Lancaster will obviously try and give them a run for their money. Whenever you're going up against the number 1 team, you play your best. We've seen that with many SVU sports that start to take off and take the number 1 spots in their conference in the nation. That teams start to target them, and play their absolute best when they meet.
Well, that's something we talked about a little bit before the game, before the season, is that coming into the preseason poll ranked number 1, you're no longer chasing anybody. You're the man to chase. Target is on your back now, and so far they've been perfect in maintaining their number 1 seed in their championship status.
And right there, a service error from the Chargers. Not the way you want to start, especially coming up against this Knights team that when they're serving, probably the best team in the nation. They average 3.5 service aces per set. Right there, another great serve there from the Knights. Starting out strong, 2-0 lead. Right there, number 9, Samuel Canland back to serve.
Second serve for Canland. They'll give that one to the Chargers. So Sam Canland is one of those players, have to watch him every time he's on the floor. He is the top in the nation in hitting percentage. It's right around that 40 mark.
Yeah, he's so far in the season, he's hitting 54% to start off this season. So a blazing start for him.
Hit will go down for Kyler Evans, big senior from Gilbert, Arizona.
And he's not one you usually see involved in the offense. He's more a defensive player, but right there, SVU really trying to throw anything they can at the Chargers.
Chargers drive is thwarted for now. Here come the Knights. Schaefer got a hand on it. Knights can set it up. We just talked about how Canland makes the most of his shots, puts one up and down for the Knights.
Yeah, Canland's looking to really start this game off strong, serving well, attacking well. I mean, there's a reason he's 4th in the Continental Volleyball Conference in kills per set.
That one just came off the hand of Knights number 10, Jimbo Brown. Will be a point for the Chargers. And take a look. This is a Lancaster Bible squad. 6-2 so far on the season. And they do share an opponent, the Knights and the Chargers. Roanoke College faced off against the Chargers back on January 18th. That was a Saturday. Lancaster Bible was able to get the better of the Maroons in that one, but it was 3-2. This is a Knights team that beat that same Maroon squad in 3 straight sets.
Yeah, in 3 straight sets where they didn't even let Roanoke get to 15 points in any set. So an absolutely dominating win for the Knights. And so that comparison, you can kind of expect that. Like, I mean, you look down at you compare these team stats and everything, and you look at what they've accomplished. And as good as Lancaster looks, the Knights just look a little bit better in every category. So we'll see if that holds up today. So far here in this opening set, it has.
5-2, Southern Virginia tasked with some defense. We'll see the Chargers put one on the board. Kill will go down for number 12. That's Jaden Flanagan, the 6'4" sophomore from Chicago Heights, Illinois.
Yeah, and Jaden Flanagan's not usually one that you see in the offense. He's, again, normally a defensive player, a lot like Kyler Evans, but right there, both teams trying to get everyone involved in the offense to try and put the other away.
Serve came from Nicholas Marion. See what the Chargers can do on offense. Good dig inside. Knights still with a chance. Schaefer gets that one to fall. And that is a sight we as Knights fans have become accustomed to seeing. Christian Schaefer getting a kill.
Absolutely. I mean, he's first in the CVC, and he was just named the CVC Player of the Week. And the biggest reason for the Knights' success recently has been Christian Schaefer. It is all-around amazing play in all facets of the game.
How about that? Good response on the offensive side by Lancaster Bible. Kill will go down number 24, Jordan Yoder, 5'10" sophomore from Winfield, Pennsylvania. We just talk about the success of this Knights team and certain players within it. Christian Schaefer, one of those top 15 in 3 stats in the country, serving aces being one of those. Knights forced to just put that one over there. And that one goes right over top of the head of Knights star libero Justin Madsen.
And right now, the Knights struggling a little bit to get their defense in order to get some digs. The Lancaster Bible College Chargers really taking an advantage here to keep this game close.
Good dig on the other side by the Chargers. Jimbo Brown gets one. Canland, that one's blocked back down. Big defensive effort inside by Flanagan and crew.
And if there's one area that these teams are pretty evenly matched in, it is up front. SVU averaging about 2 blocks per set, Lancaster about 1.75. So not a huge difference between those teams, and you can already see that Lancaster front making a huge difference here in this opening set.
Well, service error for the Chargers will give the Knights the go-ahead point, 7-6. And now Schaefer back behind the line to serve. Couldn't corral that one. That'll go down as an ace. Another one for Christian Schaefer.
Yeah, and that's one of the incredible things about Christian Schaefer. It's not that he's just a good attack man, like one of the best attack men in Division III volleyball, but it's also that he is one of the best servers in men's volleyball in Division III, averaging 1.25 service aces per set, which is a ridiculous number.
Put one up there. Chargers will respond on the offensive side. Just came off the hand of a Knight. 7-8 now. Flanagan back to serve. And we talk about Christian Schaefer and this Knights team and all the accolades they've wrapped up and stats that they have, but something more to be said, because I know there's parents watching at home. Having met 90% of the men's volleyball team and having met Christian Schaefer a lot, they're all fantastic young men.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This team is hungry and ready to go and wanting to keep up their success, not just getting complacent. Especially a lot of this team is seniors, and so a lot of them this is their last chance to really cement themselves here at SVU.
Back to serve now is Carrillo for the Knights. He himself top 35 in service aces. How about that? Chargers get one down off the hands of number 4, Zach Erb. We will see a change for the Knights. Carrillo comes out. Looks like we were going to maybe see Southern Virginia freshman Jason Wang check in, but it will be Kyler Evans. Jimbo Brown.
And right here is what we're seeing is what makes the Knights great, is that even if they're completely struggling on the defensive end, they're still able to keep their lead consistently with how high-powered their offense is. So if one's not clicking or whatever's happening, the Knights can overcome it.
Looks like just having a word with the official there on the opposite side. Jordan Yoder talking it over. They're still talking about it. Well, with this being the case, as you can kind of see on the bottom of your screen, head coach for the Knights, Tom Peterson, in his 9th season, gives him an opportunity to talk it over with some of his players. Right now having a word with number 4, Gehrig Tolman. Tolman only a sophomore. Hopefully see many more years in Buena Vista for him.
Yeah, he's one of the future bright stars for this team. He's averaging 9.2 assists per set. A very good foundation for this Knights team to build on. And yeah, like you said, hopefully many more years to come for him as this Knights program continues to grow and have players graduate and go in and out.
We got to see a lot of that depth in the Knights' last couple of home games. Against the Averett Cougars and the Roanoke Maroons, we saw a lot of freshmen get some meaningful minutes in those games. Schaefer just a little bit too long.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing that you always want from your team, is that you can be able to put in your freshmen, put in those who are the next up and coming, and be able to see what you've got and be able to see, okay, our program's in good hands for the future, to not feel like, well, we're going to have to throw in the book the next year and figure something out when all our seniors graduate.
Awkward shot forces the Knights just to get it over. Awkward sign on the Bible side as well. Canlin. Fighting the net. Won by Tolman.
And that right there is one of the most effective plays in volleyball. You have your assist man, your setup, that gets all your main offensive players going, and then sometimes he just tips it right back over. You never expect it. It's never on the forefront of your mind.
Keeps those defensive players on their toes. You never know whether Tolman's going to set it up for big hitters like Schaefer and Canlin, or maybe take one for himself.
Absolutely.
Chargers. Now that'll belong to the Chargers as well. You saw Canlin and Evans go up to meet him. So now we're going to see Jake Rotelli back to serve for the Chargers. Rotelli, 5'11" sophomore from Honeybrook, Pennsylvania. Chargers forced to just set that one over. Tolman to Schaefer.
Christian Schaefer.
And that right there is about as easy as it comes for Schaefer. Great setup there from Tolman. Nothing more you need to say.
We'll see a couple new Knights check into the game. Carrillo is going to check in, check out. And Kyler Evans makes his way to the bench. Back to serve, one of those freshmen we got to see a lot of in the Knights' last couple of home games. Caleb Crow, freshman from Houston, Texas.
Yeah, he played very well, and obviously he's a huge help to this Knights team that focuses on service aces to really keep this team going and keep momentum going. So very impressive that you have a lot of these young freshmen coming up. That you don't see this very often at SVU, where there's a program where people want to come and play a specific sport because of how quality the program is. But SVU, one of those programs, and we're super excited for the future.
Well, head coach Tom Peterson's been here for 9 years. How about that? Christian Schaefer. 2 kills and just as many attacks for the senior from Palmyra, PA. Going back to the success of this Knight squad, Tom Peterson in his 9th season. Southern Virginia won their first conference title back in 2019. And ever since then, it's been off to the races for this Southern Virginia squad.
Yeah, they won in 2019, 2020. Then had to take a 2-year break, but won last year, and are looking again to get 4 out of the last 6 under their belt.
What an accomplishment that would be, and looks like they're well on their way to being in the conversation, or at the top of that conversation. This is a Southern Virginia team, for those of us that watched the last game. The stat that most stood out to me, and you probably have it on your piece of paper, Mark, is that Southern Virginia, in their last 35 games, have only given up 4 sets.
That's incredible. It is something different that this SVU team is building, and that's why coming into the season they were ranked number 1. After just 1 season of winning the conference championship, they were ranked number 1 in Division III volleyball, playing very well and dominantly. Not just winning all the games, but dominantly winning the game. So a very, very amazing SVU team that we've got here.
And because of that late surge by the Southern Virginia Knights, it'll force the Chargers to take a timeout. Chargers are, of course, coached by head coach Jade Brubaker in his 12th season at the helm of the program. He's assisted by Justin Brubaker, Brian Kemmerer, Drew Dillon. All make up the Chargers sideline. And they've had a fairly successful season up until this point.
Yeah, they're 6-2, and they've got some good victories under their belt. They've beat Elizabethtown in their last game, which is, as SVU knows, a very familiar opponent as they're in our conference. So beat them, and it was a pretty dominant game up until the 3rd set. Lancaster was up 2-0 going into the 3rd, but dropped the 3rd and the 4th in heartbreaking fashion, especially the 4th, giving up a lot of errors, really beating themselves there, but putting it away in the 5th. So this Chargers team can get very hot and go on long streaks to win their games, but sometimes they beat themselves too. So this Knights team is an expert at forcing opponents to beat themselves in that way.
Well, we've seen the Chargers really stick into it. They're in the beginning part. Southern Virginia's up to a 6-point lead now, but it's just a matter of how they're going to play that day. Versus number 11, St. John Fisher. They lost in 3 straight sets to the Lancaster Bible College Chargers. Then their literal next game after that one, they faced off against number 14, Misericordia, and they lost that one in the 5th set.
Yeah, and that one's one that they'd want to have back when you have the opportunity to go against a top-ranked team, and you lose it just in the 5th set. That you always want that one back to have really put that one away.
Great dig to the side of the Chargers, but just too far over. Met by Schaefer and Jason Wang.
And Jason Wang, talk about an incredible player that we hope to be in SVU for many years to come. A freshman, he's averaging .92 blocks per set, which as a freshman is astounding. and you're hoping that he can really become a game-altering force as he continues to progress through his years here at SVU.
We talk about Jason Wang for the Southern Virginia Knights. He had a fairly successful timeout the last time Southern Virginia played. Just take a look at his stats from that game against Avert. He ended that game with 5 kills, hitting at 83%, making the most of all his opportunities. Did the freshman from Virginia Beach, Jason Wang. Service ace just barely falls in for Jordan Yoder. Yoder from Southern Virginia on the attack. Tolman quick to Wang. Chargers now.
And right there, that's not something you see very often from Lancaster Bible. They're probably the one thing that they're truly great at, the best at, is they don't give up very many blocking errors. They are very good on that end. They may not get as many blocks as other teams, but they do not make that many mistakes. So right there, a rare sight to see from this Lancaster Bible College team.
Schaefer with the soft touch. And for Schaefer, that's already kill number 5 for him today. Southern Virginia leads 19-13.
And Schaefer, he didn't start out great. He started out with just like one of 6 on attacks with an error. So didn't start out too well, but since then has gone crazy to get his hitting percentage up to 44 with those 5 kills. That's one of the things that makes him so dangerous. You can't keep him down, right? You can contain him and make him think that he's not doing well for just a little bit, but eventually he will break through and start dominating on that front.
And Mark, maybe for some of us that haven't really taken time to watch many Chargers, we talked a lot about Southern Virginia and their star players. Is there anybody on the Chargers team we really want to look out for today?
There's 2 specifically on the offensive end. You have number 23, Dawson Forney, and number 24, Jordan Yoder. We've already talked about Yoder a little bit so far in this game. He's made his presence felt. But Dawson Forney, he's averaging 3.42 kills per game, and he's 5th in points in the United East Volleyball Conference. He's a very effective player. He is the centerpiece of this Lancaster Bible College team. And, I mean, we haven't said his name yet, but I'm sure at some point he will try and make his presence felt. And it's up to the Knights to make sure that they keep him contained.
Well, Forney will be wearing the number 23. He's out there now, leads his team in kills with 106 so far this year. Jordan Yoder right behind him at that 84 mark. Be interesting to see what member of the Chargers steps up. Right now, Southern Virginia Knights leading by 6, 19-13. And Christian Schaefer behind the line to serve.
Christian Schaefer.
I mean, what more can you say? That was just an incredible serve. There's nothing you can do when he hits it that hard, that well, that accurately. Nothing you can do.
2 aces on the set for Schaefer. Schaefer serves again. This one playable. They'll say he hit the net while making his way over. Point goes to the Knights.
And right there, if you're SVU, you'll take that break because that was setting up to be a huge hit to get Lancaster some momentum.
You saw the look in Jaden Flanagan's eyes as he went up for that one. Blocked by the Knights, playable again by the Chargers. Good work from Jeremy Brown to keep that one in play for the Knights. Schaefer forced to push that one over. Just far off the hands from Flanagan. And take a little look at the Chargers side of the court. They were trying to say that came off the hands of a Knight.
Certainly close. That's the thing about volleyball. It is, as much as we say other sports are a game of inches, like volleyball is a game of inches. It is one of the smallest playing areas you could have, everything like that. I mean, there's just not much room to do much. So truly a game of inches, and ref saw that it didn't touch the Knights.
Well, during that break, we just saw Christian Schaefer pick up another service ace. That one's just too far. You see the Chargers looking now for Dawson Forney. Forney just haven't been able to put one down just yet. Still a young game.
Yeah, because if you don't have Forney going, there's not much opportunity you're going to have here against this Knights team. You need all your players playing their best in order to get this Knights team down.
Schaefer looks to win the set for the Knights. In the middle, Forney. Flanagan. Good dig, Schaefer. See what the Chargers can do. Look for Flanagan. Chargers stay alive. 14 points to 24.
And that's Flanagan's fourth kill so far in this game. Like we said earlier, normally a defensive player, but really trying his best to keep his team in this.
Tolman looks for Canlin. Chargers get a chance now. Good block by the freshman Wang.
Set one goes.
Set one goes to the Southern Virginia Knights.
Set two coming up.
Started a little bit close, then Southern Virginia really started to pull away, and then they put it away, 25-14.
Yeah, ever since that point where Jordan Yoder got the kill to put the Chargers at 10 points, the Knights went on a 13-5 run to end that set. I didn't expect with the last game, like we talked about, the Knights didn't allow Roanoke College to get a single set of 15 points, much less anywhere close to 25. I thought that streak was going to end right here when it was 12-10, but the Knights really finding their groove, playing together as a team to put that away convincingly.
The Southern Virginia team, like we mentioned before, 5-0 so far in the young season. They have wins over top of the Liberty Flames, Edgewood College. They beat the Duhawks of Loras College in 3 straight sets back in January in Springfield, Ohio. Then, of course, their real home opener, they did play the Flames earlier in the year, but the real home opener, you can say, the Averett Cougars, then the Roanoke Maroons, and those are straight sweeps in those ones as well. That one against Averett, we saw 19 or so service aces in the entire game.
You keep saying these things, and I just can't believe it. Like, I've done a couple semesters calling volleyball a little bit, and I have never heard of numbers like that before. And how do you remember all these mascots for all these teams? I can barely keep track of the USA South mascots for most of SVU sports.
I've been here a long time, Mark.
That's fair.
Chargers starting to warm up now. We'll be interested to see when or if we see Dawson Forney really start to pick up throughout this game. You have to think eventually, as they keep feeding him, we'll start to get something started. And on the other side, it'll be interesting to see if we see some new faces for Southern Virginia make their way in. There was a starters in primarily there. We did see freshman Jason Wang check into the game a couple times as well. We're interested to see if we see Caleb Crow. Brady Dastrup had a phenomenal game against the Averett Cougars. Led the team in kills in that regard. But Southern Virginia getting the job done with the players they have, up 1-0 over top of the Chargers.
Yeah, and I mean talking about Dawson Forney. So far, he has 9 attack attempts and 3 errors on those attempts. So he's in the negative percentage right now. A long pit for him to climb up, but I mean the first set's done. So he's starting out 0-0 right now. So that's the mentality you have to have if you're Forney, if you want to get back into this. And speaking of the Knights young players, I mean, Dastrup already making a name for himself. He's second in the CVC in service aces. He's part of that incredible Knights serving team that continues to dominate. But it will be interesting to see if we get more playing time besides just serving from the freshmen with that dominant ending to the first set.
And of course, this is not the only game in town. Southern Virginia with an action-packed weekend. This Saturday, men's and women's track and field are over just across town in Lexington at VMI at their indoor course, doing stuff over there. Women's wrestling at the Bobcat Open in Frostburg, Maryland. Of course, men's volleyball is here. Men's lacrosse is playing a game today in Buena Vista. We'll, of course, see men's and women's swimming's over in Maryland, playing with St. Mary's. And then, of course, to be the nightcap here at Southern Virginia, men's basketball versus Methodist at 2 o'clock. Women's basketball versus Brevard at 4 o'clock p.m. That women's basketball one, I've got my eye on Brevard, number 2 in the USA South. Southern Virginia at that number 1 spot.
Yeah, and the thing about today is that normally when you have a lot of SVU sports, it's like, okay, here's one good team, and then the rest are kind of like, okay, we support the Knights. Today, I mean, you have this amazing Knights volleyball team. You have the women's basketball team who is playing extremely well, leading the USA South by a wide margin. And then you have the men's basketball team also leading the USA South by 3+ games. So SVU Sports really taking a high mark today. I mean, and not to mention the track and field, they're doing extremely well this season too. So overall, Knights Athletics is really taking off here in the beginning of 2025.
It is an exciting time to be a Knights fan, that is for sure. We will start things off. Southern Virginia will serve. It looks like it'll be Canlin back there to serve for the Southern Virginia Knights. Sam Canlin, senior from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. One of the leaders on this squad. And first point of the set belongs to the Chargers. Big hit from Nicholas Marion.
That right there is the way to respond after a long run from the Knights to end that first set. Take the first point on a very good serve.
Canlin. That's a good block inside. Kevin Bryant alongside Nicholas Marion. Bryant, 6'4", middle hitter from York, Pennsylvania. Was able to put that one down. I had the roster up because as Nicholas Marion put that one down to open up the set, we got to hear the Chargers bench started singing happy birthday. I was starting to think of someone's birthday here in the barn. How about that, Kyler Evans?
And that's pretty unstoppable. Normally sets are high and ready for the player to jump up and get a good downward hit. But right there, I mean, just the height of Kyler Evans allowing you to just do a straight setup right there to just push it right over.
Good dig by Canlin. Tolman to Schaefer. Still alive for the Chargers. Tolman. How about again for Kyler Evans?
Kyler Evans.
And the reason they're doing that is because that low set just completely throws the defense off their rhythm because you're expecting a little bit more time, just a second more to get your defense set and to get a jump right there. But a really great start for this second set for Kyler Evans.
Kevin Bryant to serve.
Flanagan comes back in, back to serve. It's Kevin Bryant, the man of the minute right now. Tolman. How about that for Kyler Evans? This seems to be the set of Kyler Evans. 3 kills and just as many attempts.
Yeah, that is an awesome thing to see if you're a Knights fan. Knowing that, yes, you have your big hitters in Canlin and Schaefer, but then, yeah, Kyler Evans could just pop off for 3 kills in a row to start off a set to keep it close. That is an impressive thing to have.
Head coach Tom Peterson must have heard us because as soon as we start talking about Kyler Evans and how fantastic he is, Kyler Evans makes his way to the bench. We have to wait a little bit longer to see the big man down low. How about that for the Southern Virginia Knights? Block inside by Jason Wang.
And it's great to hear his name on the defensive end. Really love to see how amazing he is at blocking there up front.
Back to serve, a player we haven't mentioned yet today. This is number 2, Jayden Hall, senior from Queen Creek, Arizona. We'll say that one was in. Jayden Hall is senior. He's, of course, joined by his brother, freshman Jet Hall. And those two in the game against Aver, going back and forth as to who would have the most service aces. Jet Hall had 5. Jayden Hall had 4. Little brother won round 1.
We'll see if Jet can get more playing time and see if he can beat his older brother again. That'll be a fun rivalry to watch as the year progresses.
Back to serve now. Southern Virginia's Garrett Tolman. Sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona, formerly playing at Perry High School. One of the rare service errors for the Southern Virginia Knights as Tolman hits that one into the net.
And that's the second service error so far in this set. A really odd start for the Knights, coming out a little flat, kind of like the first set. Starting off not looking not looking well oiled as their machine goes.
We saw similar things there in that first set, a little slow to get started. With players like that, you somehow find a way. Schaefer puts the Knights up by 1, 6-5.
And that's just the most terrifying thing. You get the ball, you're serving, and Christian Schaefer puts it right overhead, and then he gets the ball to serve. It is the most terrifying 1-2 punch you could possibly have.
Schaefer. Canley got a hand on it. Southern Virginia now. Tolman to Schaefer. Hit that one with the left hand. Chargers able to keep it alive. Knights set it up. Tolman. Point will go to Lancaster Bible. Just crossed over to the Southern Virginia Knights. It remains 6-6.
And you just hate to see a nice rally like that end in an error. You'd like to see a great kill to end that one off, but Knights just making another mistake to keep this set close.
Tolman finds Wang. Jason Wang gets it done on the offensive side. And looks like he'll check out of this game. In for him, Southern Virginia number 15, Maxim Sutton, senior from Mesa, Arizona.
I think this men's volleyball team is more from Arizona than pretty much any other team here at SVU.
Quick shout out to Arizona men's volleyball.
I mean, hey, I'm from Arizona, so I gotta make sure Arizona's shouted out as much as possible.
So Sutton back to serve. Mark, what do you call people from Arizona?
Arizonians.
Arizonians. That's a mouthful.
Yes, it's the best mouthful.
That one just a little bit too far out. Forney was looking for it. And Sutton back to serve again. Now Sutton listed as a setter. Typically comes in that role, but he and Garrick Tolman now find themselves on the court at the exact same time. Interesting tactics coming from the Southern Virginia Knights. Jimbo Brown tried to meet him at the summit, just wasn't there. Canland.
Right there, the Knights are getting a little bit more unstuck quicker than they were in the first set. But talking about Sutton and how an interesting strategy having both him and Tolman out there at the same time. With all these freshmen coming in, and especially with so many seniors taking up a lot of time, you need to find different ways to make an impact on this team besides just playing your one position, doing your one thing, if you want to really have an opportunity.
Heroics on the side of Garrick Tolman. Keep the Knights alive. That one just crossed over.
And Garrick Tolman, man, that was an incredible save. I thought that was just going to be an automatic point right there for the Chargers. Ultimately ended up being a point, but great play right there from Tolman.
We saw Sam Canlin as the ball went over top, hit the ceiling and came all the way down. Canlin running back to the other side, to the Chargers side of the court, looking to play that ball. The coaching staff for Lancaster Bible taking a little bit of issue with Sam Canlin coming to the other side. He's saying he's allowed to do it. They just didn't like how he acted after.
Interesting. I didn't think he acted all too inappropriate. I mean, he was upset that he didn't get the point, but otherwise I don't think he touched anyone or did anything, so.
Just one of those early game or early match games you play. But after all that, nothing really changes. Lancaster Bible still looking to chip away at this deficit, but not with plays like that. Kyler Evans continues his dominant run here in the second set.
Yep, 11 points for the Knights, 4 of them coming from Evans right there up front. The big man, one of the best blockers in the CVC, putting on his offensive hat today.
And Mark, where's Kyler Evans from again?
Kyler Evans is from Gilbert, Arizona.
Yes,
Let's go. I love that. I had to look down the roster a little bit.
11-8. Forney back to serve. We yet to see him get going here in this game. Jimbo Brown put that one over top. Here come the Chargers. Good work by Tolman, but Yoder able to get that one to fall for the Chargers.
That was a great play from Yoder, someone who's usually an offensive player, but getting a good, I think that's a block, right? Or does that count as a kill right there? Regardless, it felt more like a defensive play than an offensive one for sure.
That one goes into the net. Southern Virginia leads by 3, 12-9.
Yep, counted as a block.
As the senior Jeremy Brown back to serve now for the SVU Knights. That'll go right off the hands of Tyler Martin. Another service ace for the Knights. That's a block for Christian Schaefer. How about that from Christian Schaefer, completely by himself, solo block.
I mean, he can do it all. He's 6th in the CVC in blocks per set, and right there showing his multifaceted game right there.
That last serve took an awkward bounce, and it caught Jordan Yoder by surprise. The Southern Virginia
Lancaster.
up by 6 yet again, and Jade Brubaker will call a timeout.
And right there, Jeremy Brown really starting to put the team on his back. 2 service aces and a great serve that set up that ability for Christian Schaefer to get a good solo block right there. So Jeremy Brown really starting to come into his own. He had the service error to start the set for the Knights, but since then has really shaped up and served well coming into the midpoint of this set.
Now, it'd be really interesting to see what head coach Jade Brubaker and assistant coach Justin Brubaker are telling their Chargers right now. They found a lot of success on the offensive side at the beginning of that set, but Southern Virginia's just started to heat up, making the most of their own offensive opportunities and making it really hard on the Chargers to get anything started in that regard.
Yeah, and it's just so hard if you're the Chargers because you have to be defending all the people on the Knights side, not just looking for Christian Schaefer, not looking for Samuel Canlin and knowing where they are and being able to block them, but you have to be ready for Kyler Evans. You have to be ready for Tolman to come in out of nowhere, right? It's a hard task for anyone to do, and the key is the Knights were making some mistakes to start this set, and the Chargers were putting everything out there, but the Knights really starting to limit those mistakes and focus on getting everyone involved. Jeremy Brown, Samuel Canlin, Kyler Evans to really make this work.
We'll see if that timeout does what it was intended purpose. Off to a good start if you're the Chargers. Service ace on the side of the Knights. But now back to serves Kevin Bryant. Bryant's serve is playable. Tolman looks for Evans.
Kyler Evans.
What's that? That's kill number 5, I believe, for Kyler Evans here in this second set.
Garrett Tolman knows it. Every time Kyler Evans is out there and he doesn't have an outside hitter rushing to get it done, he knows Kyler Evans right there every single time. Jayden Hall back to serve. Kyler Evans is out right now, getting a breather. Rockers couldn't get a hand to it, and Flanagan picks up another kill.
And Flanagan you can really point to as the one who has really come to play to exceed his expectations today for the Chargers, playing very well. But going back to Kyler Evans, he has 6 attack attempts, 6 kills on those attack attempts. Just, perfect offensively for Kyler Evans today.
That's a good hit down. Nicholas Marion, junior from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
And Marion, he's their third option. He's the one they look to when Forney and Yoder aren't out there or aren't doing too well. So right there, doing what he needs to try and get his team back into the set.
Schaefer was met by the hands of Flanagan and Zach Wyant, but puts another one down in the name of the Knights.
Tolman to serve.
Tolman back to serve. Canlin. That one came off the hands of Marion.
Bam! Thank you, Sam.
I love that. I love when players have nicknames or like special things that happen when they score. Thank you, Sam.
Well, Sam Canlin, a senior, he's been around the block a couple times, and Southern Virginia Athletics kind of runs in the Canlin family. His two older brothers, both athletes here at Southern Virginia as well. Paul Canlin on the men's volleyball program. He and Sam actually got to play together at their time here in Buena Vista. And the oldest brother, or at least that I know of, Bennett Canlin. He was a men's basketball player back in his time as a Knight.
Dang, that is really cool. I don't have enough siblings for that to happen to me, but
Not able to get on the slide tackle was Tyler Martin. Point stays with the Knights. Big serve by Schaefer. That one went into the bench. Service ace for Schaefer.
we're looking at that now. That is Schaefer's second service ace. I don't think the first one counted as an ace, or maybe it maybe counted as an error, but that's his second service ace, with Jeremy Brown having two as well. So that's 4 so far for the Knights here towards the end of the second set.
And this set has played out eerily similar to the first. Lancaster Bible was able to keep it close there in the beginning. Then Southern Virginia jaunts out to a 6 or 7 point lead, and that's where they stand right now, up by 7, 20-13.
Yeah, it's looking like the Knights are falling into this pattern that, I mean, the Chargers are doing everything they can to keep them not in their flow, to get them out of rhythm. But the Knights eventually just overpowered with pure force. Kyler Evans especially, pure force up there up front, and are able to get the gears turning to extend this lead.
And what we're talking about, Kyler Evans having this hot set so far today. What's 5 or 6 kills?
6 kills and a block for 7 points.
We haven't really mentioned a lot about the man. He's 6'8", easily the tallest person on the court at any given time. His junior year played in 29 matches, 86 sets, had 148 kills last year, 1.72 kills per set. Good numbers coming from the senior from Gilbert, Arizona.
Yeah, and that's especially good for someone who is out there because he's 6'8" and is there to be up front to block oncoming attacks. So to be an offensive threat along with that is just a power that is very useful to this Knights team.
Southern Virginia leads 14-20. Service ace on the Knights. Now it's Flanagan back to serve. Jimbo Brown to Tolman. Canlin kept alive by the Chargers. And that one just falls out. You thought maybe for a second Jordan Yoder just got enough on it to make it fall. Southern Virginia up 21-14. Sutton checks into the game for head coach Tom Peterson.
Right there, Sutton, the last time out, served very well. I don't think he got an ace, but through his serving, the Knights went on a little run there. So see if he can do it again to put this set away.
That one went off the head of a Knight.
That's what I get for saying something.
21-15. Sutton only came in to serve. He checks out, as does Jason Wang. And that'll keep the Knights out there. It's Evans, Tolman, Brown, Schaefer, Canlin, and Justin Madsen in at libero. Tolman to Evans. What more can you say for Kyler Evans?
He is having himself a career day, especially when Canlin's not having the best day. 5 kills on 11 attacks with 2 errors. Canlin's not doing the best. It's nice to have Kyler Evans to back up, go 7 for 7 on attacks.
Southern Virginia finding all manner of ways to score. Garrick Tolman.
And we talked about that earlier, just the unpredictability that you have when you have a player like Tolman, that you just can't defend everyone.
Give Sam Cannon a little bit of time to tie his shoe. Southern Virginia 23-15. Hit the ceiling twice. Let's go for three. Knights have it. Tolman. Jimbo Brown. Let's say that one was hit into the net by Brown. Point for the Chargers.
And right here, you're just kind of chugging along, point for point, trying to get to the end of the set. Knights not really putting away forcefully, but slowly but surely getting there.
Forney is back to serve. Good dig by Madsen. Playable by the Chargers. They look to Yoder. And that's just good work inside by Kevin Bryant. Well, they'll give that point to the Knights. And that caught most people off guard.
Jimbo Brown to serve.
What it looks like they'll say
Set point.
is that when Bryant goes over top of the net, point for the Knights. And just like that, as we thought was a point for the Chargers, it's now set point for Southern Virginia. Jimbo Brown back to serve. Yoder, good dig, able to play it. That one will fall for Kevin Bryant.
Yeah, Kevin Bryant not happy that he didn't get that previous point, so really making his presence felt, slamming that one in just in bounds.
And now Kevin Bryant will be back to serve. Still set point for the Southern Virginia Knights, and that's not how you want that one to end.
Set two goes to the Knights.
Roller coaster over motion for Kevin Bryant. Gets one taken away, puts one down with authority, and unfortunately a service error is how set number two ends. Southern Virginia wins that one 25-17.
Yeah, not the best set from the Knights at all. They had 6 service errors, which is a huge number for a team that usually only averages about 8 errors total per set, which is a very good number. This Chargers team averages about 10.9 per set, so a big difference. But the Knights still, just with the dominant offensive performance, still hitting 423 on the set. That's pretty unstoppable, even with the Knights struggling to serve.
Like you said, even with that, Southern Virginia with so many good players that play their roles, the roadmap to victory can go any myriad of ways for the Southern Virginia Knights. We mentioned Kyler Evans in his big effort there in the second period, 7 kills on 7 attempts. Can't get much better than that. 100% for the senior from Gilbert, Arizona.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing, that's the hallmark of truly great teams at any level of competition, is if they can win any different way. Whereas a truly great player will win you any specific game, but a truly great team will win despite whatever any player does. So right there, the Knights proving that they don't need to be the most dominant serving team in Division III volleyball to win the set and win the set by 8 points. In the first set, they proved that they don't need to be the top-tier defense that they usually are in order to win the set by 12.
Well, you don't get to be the number 1 team in the country by being one-dimensional. The Southern Virginia team will find a way to win. They'll play the hot hand, no matter where it comes from. It'll be interesting to see what the Chargers have in store for this third and perhaps final period on their trip to Buena Vista. We've mentioned a couple of their players so far. Big story right now for the Lancaster Bible College Chargers. We've yet to see Forney pick up a single point today. He's their leader on the offensive side in terms of getting those kills, and right now he struggled to either get it started or Southern Virginia is doing an amazing job at slowing him down.
Yeah, and because of that, they've had to look elsewhere. They've had to look at number 21, Nicholas Marion, number 24, Jordan Yoder, and they've had to look at number 12, Jaden Flanagan, who are great players, but if your best player isn't playing up to it, you're not going to be able to take advantage of those service errors from SVU. You can imagine that Forney really being involved and effective in the offense during that second set could have led to a much closer set. But you also have to credit the Knights' defense. There's a reason why that is. There's a reason why Forney has 4 errors and 0 kills so far on the day. Part of that is because the Knights are focusing on him and making sure if he doesn't beat us, we won't get beat. So we'll see if Forney can get it going, keep this third set close, and give the Chargers some life to maybe go into a 4th set, or if the Knights keep up some great defense on Forney and keep up the momentum.
We'll see what this third chapter of the game has in store for us. And right now, all 5 Chargers out, only one Knight out on the court. That being Kyler Evans. So it looks like for the Knights. We'll wait for Madsen to check into the game. We'll see who he comes in for. Justin Madsen, of course, senior from Las Vegas, Nevada, formerly playing at Centennial High School. One of only 2 Southern Virginia liberos to win CVC Libero of the Year. Last one was Daniel Aina way back in 2018.
Wow. That is awesome. Justin Madsen is one of my first games calling women's volleyball. Justin Madsen was on the call for me, and that was a fun experience. He's a great player, a nice guy, and look to see him really put some good defense here to keep the Knights from falling anywhere in this third set.
The play starts with Madsen. Canlin just had to hit that one over. Southern Virginia on the defensive. Madsen to Canlin. Playable again. How about that for the Chargers? Good dig to keep it alive. Madsen, Tolman, Brown to finish it off.
And that right there, the Chargers fighting tooth and nail to keep that ball alive, to keep it going. They'd been able to take the first point of each of the previous 2 sets, but this is the first one the Knights get the advantage first.
Canlin back to serve. Able to keep that one alive for the Chargers. And Madsen, high IQ play. Well, let's say that came off a hand of a Knight. Madsen thought it was going to make its way out, which it did. Say it just grazed the fingertip of a Southern Virginia Knight. Point goes to the Chargers. It's 1-1 here in the first set. Forney back to serve. Dawson Forney continues to be just out of groove as we go into in the third set.
And the Chargers, they can't afford mistakes like that. But luckily the Chargers get a break right there. Another service error from this Knight squad.
Teams exchanging service errors. Despite that, 2-2 tied up right now. It looks like Forney will check out. In for him, Charger number 3, Jake Ratelli. And back to serve, Zeke Clark. His name we haven't said yet before. Wears that number 7 jersey for head coach Jade Brubaker, sophomore from Westchester, Pennsylvania. Oh, service ace. That one looked to catch the Knights off guard. Caught me off guard there for a second. Zeke Clark puts in a service ace for the Chargers.
And that's what you want on your first play in the game against one of the best teams in the country is immediate service ace. That's what you want from your sophomore.
Couldn't get 2 in a row. Service ace accompanied by service error. Stays all tied up 3-3. Kyler Evans will check out. And Southern Virginia will throw in number 17, Isaac Carrillo, sophomore from Albuquerque, New Mexico, back to serve. And if you haven't seen Isaac Carrillo serve, one of the better serves I've ever seen. Hopefully I didn't jinx him here. Carrillo, as I did.
Good job. we wield power that we do not understand.
Curse of the commentator strikes again. Carrillo checks out of the game. I'll apologize to him later for that one. Back to serve now, Nicholas Marion. And I won't say any more words about serves. Some residual bad luck still in the barn.
This is a rough set for both teams. 8 points scored so far. 5 of them have come off service errors. 3 for Lancaster, 2 for SVU.
Tolman will get some volleyball. Playable by the Chargers. Call it a double hit. Point goes to the Knights. see head coach Justin Brubaker didn't agree with that one. Tolman. Yoder. Point goes to the Knights. There's some deliberation to see whether or not a Knight touched that before it made its way out.
And the Knights right now winning that close game of inches, maybe even with just a little bit of luck.
Ceiling came in clutch for the Chargers there, kept it in. Schaefer! Not much you can do about that one. Schaefer extends the Knights' lead to 3.
And that's the first real play the Knights have been able to put together so far in this set. Just not much going on, but right there, Schaefer trying to get his team on track to put this one away.
Tolman's able to keep it there. Madsen plays it all the way across. Brown. Wyant looks for Flanagan. Point goes to the Knights. Well, Flanagan met strong in the middle by Schaefer and Jason Wang. Look for Flanagan again. Flanagan had a hot start to this game, but he's gone 2 attempts in a row without finding a point. Timeout called subsequently by Jade Brubaker.
And that's a very good timeout. It can be really hard in the third set. You're down 0-2 against this good of a Knights team. It can just be really hard to keep your head in the game, especially when you've fought tooth and nail so far, forced the Knights into mistakes, and still haven't gotten close. It mentally wears you down. So obviously Lancaster trying to get their minds on track so that way they can focus. I mean, it's still early in the set. They're only down by 5. There's plenty of time for them if they can really get SVU out of flow again and really cut down on the errors for them to make their way back into this set. So a good timeout here early to try and get his team on track.
And of course, this is still the start to a very new season for both of these squads. Take a look at the upcoming schedules for both these teams as well. For the Lancaster Bible College Chargers, after today's game, which is still very much far from over, they'll face off against number 12 Messiah. That'll be in Grantham, PA. Then they'll return home, face off against Stevenson and Geneva. That'll both be home at the Horst Athletic Center in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting game for them. Number 12 Messiah, that could be a good game where they could really, like this game, test their mettle and improve as a team right there. So an interesting game right there to watch for the Chargers.
Of course, Southern Virginia's upcoming games after today, they'll go away from home to Madison, New Jersey. They'll face off against Drew University. Then they'll travel just across to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, where they'll face off against Wilkes University. Also face off against Widener University in that Wilkes tri-match February 8th. That's a Saturday. They don't return home until Valentine's Day, February 14th, with a face-off against Stevenson University. That game is slated for 7 o'clock p.m. How about that? Stays alive for the Chargers. Good dig on the side by Hall. Madsen looks to Canlan.
And right there, the Chargers showing a lot of fight there on that match, on that rally. Some great digs. But right there, the Knights equally as good in terms of the dig department, and Canlan finishing it off.
Playable. Look across to Yoder. Hall keeps it alive. Tolman to Schaefer. That just finds its way in.
And like you were saying, the next game is in Madison, New Jersey against Drew University. I'm looking forward to that one. First, the beginning of conference play for these Knights. Very important game right there to get conference play started off on the right foot.
Yoder. Say that one came off the hand of a Knight. Point goes to the Chargers.
Right there, Chargers not going down without a fight. They are fighting hard.
And talk about that game for Southern Virginia up against Drew. Continental Volleyball Conference, always exciting to watch. Teams like Southern Virginia, Juniata, those Eagles are always in talks for being nationally ranked. Elizabethtown's always been good. We also have Rutgers, Newark, Marymount, Wilkes, Drew, and of course the Cougars of Kane University. It'll be interesting to see when Southern Virginia takes on them later in the year. How about that service ace again for Christian Schaefer.
That's his third on the game, keeping up his 1 per set average alive. But yeah, no, and you pronounced it Junata?
Juniata.
Juniata. Yeah, I mean, Juniata right now is ranked number 5 nationally. So a very good team that these Knights will need to face in conference play.
Juniata, at the time when Southern Virginia won their first CVC tournament back in 2019, that was one of the tougher games they had to face. And Southern Virginia was hosting that tournament. They didn't get to do it here in the barn. And that rule continues to this day. Southern Virginia, if they were to host the CVC tournament, which their season ended today, they would. It wouldn't be here in the barn. Have to be at a different site. And it's only due to the ceiling
being
here
too
at the
low.
barn. A little bit too low. Teams don't like it, so they want to play at other things. So in 2018, when Southern Virginia won their first CVC title, it wasn't here at home. It was over at the home of the Rockbridge County Wildcats in their gym.
The high school right there?
High school in Lexington.
Dang. I did not know that.
Flanagan serve. Madsen. Knights able to keep it alive. 3 straight digs. And that one goes out.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Madsen dove to get that dig, and then I believe that was Tolman who had to jump over him, keep the ball alive, and then Madsen, still on the ground, had to lift his arm up to hit that over. Incredible play right there from Justin Madsen.
Southern Virginia men's volleyball doing the best synchronized diving routine on that one to go up 14-6. Madsen serve. Chargers looking for some sneaky offense. Schaefer to Hall. Knights not able to keep that one alive. Block goes down and belongs to Kevin Bryant.
And Kevin Bryant right there looking to get back into this game after the rough ending to the second set. See what he can do.
Back to serve the setter, Zach Wyant. 6'4" junior from Martinsburg, Pennsylvania. Too far, Hall makes him pay.
That was a great awareness play right there, knowing that you had the perfect set right there to put it right down the middle because the whole Chargers team had collapsed trying to get that dig. But just going over, great play there from Hall.
And just like that, Southern Virginia is up by 9. Candlin, playable off the light, a little bit difficult. Yoder just has to get that one over and across. Madsen to Tolman, to Hall. A good block in the middle by SVU, but just fell out on the other side. Point belongs to the Chargers and Kevin Bryant. And Kevin Bryant really started to step up in moments when he's needed for this Lancaster Bible college squad.
Yeah, I mean, like most of this Lancaster team, a couple mistakes, but overall, really good players that can make their presence felt in this game.
Saw the official there on the ladder looking around. Who was going to give that point to? Tolman thought he had it. Just falls out of bounds.
Right here, Jake Rotelli, number 3, has the Chargers on a little bit of a run, looking to get back into this.
Good serve by Rotelli. Better offense by the Southern Virginia Knights.
Thank you, Sam.
Big kill for Sam Canlin. And if you could see the face of number 10 for the Chargers, Zach Wyant, who was in charge of digging that ball out of the court, just looked exasperated after Sam Canlin hit.
I mean, I'd be terrified. So the fact that he can look exasperated in that situation is credit to him.
Hall. Wyant looks over for Yoder. Dig Justin Madsen. Schaefer stays alive. Chargers. Point belongs to the Chargers. Say Southern Virginia was in the net.
And I think that was probably Kyler Evans' first mistake of the day, which is an amazing thing to happen when you're up 7 in the third set, up 2-0. So, but still right there. The Chargers not out of it yet. Definitely some momentum. They've won, I believe, 3 out of the last 4 points.
It'll send Zeke Clark back behind the line to serve. Those who remember Zeke Clark on his first service of today was able to pick up an ace. This one's played well by the Knights. Tolman looks for Candlin. That one falls in for the Chargers. Lancaster Bible on a little bit of a run so far.
Yeah, it's certainly getting close. Right here. Let's see. So yeah, Lancaster's on a 5-2 run right now, so definitely gaining some momentum and gaining some ground on this lead.
Just as we say that, ball is given back to the Knights on the service error from Clark. That'll see Madsen check out, Evans check out. Gotta love Kyler Evans. You mentioned the one mistake he might have made. Makes his way to the bench and immediately apologizes to head coach Gabe Wagner.
Well, that's one of the things that makes teams great, is that they hold each other accountable but also celebrate each other in those things. So Kyler Evans is certainly going to get a celebration, and he's also going to say, hey, you could have done that better. And that's what makes great teams great, is constant improvement and constant joy of the game at the same time, which can be hard. But this Knights team is very good at it. Coach Peterson is a very good one at teaching that, of teaching joy and accountability.
And Southern Virginia improves to a 19-11 lead. They lead by 8. Carrillo serve. Couldn't get down for the dig for Carrillo. Point goes down for Nicholas Marion. Carrillo will check back out.
Nicholas Marion to serve.
Marion back to serve. The Southern Virginia 6 are Madsen, Schaefer, Tolman, Wang, Hall, and Candlin. Service error. Southern Virginia still leads.
Eric Tolman to serve for the Knights.
And right here in this third set, the biggest thing hurting Lancaster, they have 6 service errors. I mean, you turn that around, that's 6. It's a 7-point deficit right now, and 6 of those have come from service errors. So Lancaster hurting themselves most here in this third set.
Well, Flanagan tried to put it over with a little bit of finesse. Schaefer met him on the other side. Blocked down for Schaefer, point number 20 for SVU. Jason Wing checks out. Into the game, Southern Virginia veteran number 14, Curtis Stone. Has to play it over. Hall, Tolman, Schaefer. That one's good.
Christian Schaefer.
I think there's a little bit of a problem with the scoreboard. The online, oh no, they just fixed it. Never mind. Ignore me.
That one falls for Flanagan. Buffering out of the way on the side of KnightAthletics.com. We continue here in the barn. Back to serve, number 24, Jordan Yoder. Sophomore from Winfield, Pennsylvania. Yoder's serve is a good one, playable by the Knights. How about that for Hall? Schaefer. Another kill for Christian Schaefer.
Yeah, as good as Knight Athletics right now are going in terms of basketball and volleyball performance right now, not everything's perfect. What would be the point of playing sports if everything was perfect, right?
23-13. Schaefer. That one's a little bit too far off the hands of Schaefer. Back to serve is Flanagan. Of course, we want to remind everybody, you want all to keep up with all Knights Athletics, go to knightsathletics.com. Follow them on their social media pages. Get all the updates of your favorite players, sports, and teams here at Southern Virginia University. 25-15, Flanagan back to serve again.
And Flanagan overall has had a very good game coming to play for these Chargers.
You had to say something, didn't you, Mark?
Yep, I did.
So, Southern Virginia, match point now off the service error from Jaden Flanagan. Back to serve now, Maxim Sutton. Sutton with a chance to end this one for SVU. And that's how it'll end. Maxim Sutton with a service ace to send the Knights home with another W, 6 in a row for the Southern Virginia Knights.
And I'm going to credit myself for that service ace for not saying anything. Sometimes I wonder what the point of commentating is if I curse everything I touch.
addition by subtraction by Mark Duffin, not saying a single word when Maxim Sutton was up to serve. Southern Virginia takes that one 25-15, and just a reminder, this is not the only Southern Virginia game today. Later on being broadcast, you can go watch the men's lacrosse team. They're playing right now. Get a couple updates on those scores as well. Men's basketball versus Methodist will be at 2 o'clock p.m. here in the barn. And, of course, women's basketball faces off against Brevard, numbers 1 and 2 in the USA South. That game is slated for 4 o'clock p.m. here in Buena Vista.
Yeah, it's a great day of SVU athletics. And what's really awesome is that we're really just developing like a cadre of superstar players for Division III sports, at least. You have Abigail Snyder there for the women's basketball team. You have Eli Ballstead for the men's team. And obviously we've been mentioning Christian Schaefer and Samuel Cadland here today. And throw Kyler Evans in there too. I think he deserves it after today. So a really exciting time for Knights athletics. Volleyball picks up the W. We'll look at lacrosse, see if they can. And we'll see if the basketball teams can keep it up, if we can go a good 4-0 sweep today on the Knights sports.
So that's what's to look ahead for the Southern Virginia Knights. Turn our attention back to this game after it ended. Kyler Evans 7 of 7, 100%. I'd say he played out of his mind today against the Chargers.
Absolutely. I mean, ending up with 8 points as a defensive player is exactly what you want. That's the perfect amount you want from your Knights. But of course, Christian Schaefer, the star of the show, he had 20 attack attempts, 12 kills. I need to be a bit more aware of my surroundings, don't I?
We didn't get a chance to say it beforehand, but what a nice gesture we got to see. Southern Virginia and Lancaster Bible College sharing a prayer at the end of the game. And now the festival of fun ensues. Southern Virginia wins 25-15. That'll do it for us here. Join us again for men's basketball later and women's basketball at 4 o'clock as they take on Brevard. For everyone here at Southern Virginia, for Mark Duffin, I'm Chris Fly saying so long from Buena Vista, but we hope to see you again soon. Have a good night.
We saw that, Coach.
Garrett, you're on the list, buddy. Put it on the list.
Oh, brother.
Well, not my best game, but it's been a while.
No, that was good.
All right, now I get to start putting together notes for the women's basketball.